the answer the same day. And like you said, when you start out, you see all kind of objections and things that aren't going your way. So that was very beneficial, that you can just have an answer right away.
Yeah, and what about you, Aaron? What's some of the key points that you found really positive at SMB in the program?
Yeah, it's definitely been a great experience. I guess the main takeaways would be just I found the course to be very thorough. Like I mentioned, on a daily basis, you can jump in and go on calls and get that support. And the coaches were excellent. They're all very down to earth, just approachable, easy to talk to, very knowledgeable, lots of experience. And they all have different experiences, which we all do. So they could all bring different value to the calls, and there was different coaches doing different calls. It was great networking with other students. That's where I met Ilya, and many others, yourself. And I think actually when I started, Graham, you were in the program as well. You were just I caught you on the last few kind of calls.
And I think they were trying to push me out at that stage, and I was pushing back, trying to stay in, and they just said, "Come on, Graham, it's time to move on." But yeah, that's right. And I met Illy after we connected with the international thing, and we touched base and did a couple of face-to-faces, and we just talked about the different things in being international and some of the obstacles you face. But look, there's a great culture there. That's what I found. It was just something that I'd never experienced anywhere else. And one thing, was the celebrating the small wins, the small victories, and building up and building the teamwork. It was like being on a sporting team. It was like real supportive, and I hadn't seen that around. And I think being so far away with us guys, you need that support. And Illy made a really good point that if you do the coaching calls of a morning, it sets you up for the day. You just feel like you've just come out of the locker room and you're all pumped up and you're ready to go, and then you go and do what you got to do. And just having access to those coaches in all different areas across the board was fantastic. Now, obviously, it's based on social media. So for anyone that's watching that is not, doesn't know what SMB is about or anything, it's based in social media. Where do you think it's crucial to be in social media? And when I say social media, it's not just Facebook. There's other forms of social media now, and podcasting like this is getting big. YouTube. How important do you guys think that's going to be in your businesses moving forward?
Yeah, of course. The majority of business now is through social media. I would just love to add a couple more things. I found it very helpful, especially in the beginning. We all feel stuck at some point. So there was like a form with some questions, and you basically have to answer that form in 5 minutes. And the answer to your question is right there. So that's what I remember at one point, like maybe month and a half in. I remembered that and answered my own question. And with the tracking of your KPIs, that's something I started doing more now, and just now starting to realize how important is that. Because we had KPI meeting last weekend, and we saw what was lacking. Okay, there were leads, there were no enough offers, and I see that 2 days into the week we already broke those numbers from last week. So that's just some of the things that was very beneficial.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the structure. There's the support. There's all of that sort of stuff. The education's second to none. Yeah, it's a lot of people that would be weighing up, or do I do some sort of course or coaching? That I think the support is when you go out and you look for something that suits your business, you've got to look for that support. You've got to have that, and you've got to have that positive thing, and you've got to have people that you've got access to all the time, and that's right there in the forefront. Now, just with you guys in your business, where you're at now, I'm just wondering, what real estate are you into now, and what do you want to expand into the future? We'll start with Aaron this time down the bottom. Aaron, you said you've already been into a bit of buy and hold real estate. What are you into now? Is it more wholesaling? Is it more buy and hold? And how would you like to see the future in the next 5 years?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, it's more wholesaling, but with the plan to buy and hold. Ilya mentioned getting into the U.S. market by accident. I wouldn't say wholesaling I got into by accident, but I never planned to do any wholesaling. But I'm definitely, it fits my business model as far as marketing and getting those off-market properties, and then continuing to grow my buy and hold portfolio, and then getting into multifamily apartments. And
yep.
So,
yep. So you've already got a plan in place. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've been networking a lot with that and with brokers, and I just had a property come in this afternoon that looks pretty promising. Actually, it's a pretty large property, but we'll see how that goes. But it does. Again, it's that networking, and it's somebody that I've been talking with for a while now, and just kind of on a weekly basis, and he'll send me different properties, and as our relationship has just grown with that sort of contact and connection, and now I'm starting to see some results from that as well, just from that one interaction. So, let alone
how about you, Willie? What's your current I guess vehicle that you're using? Is it more wholesaling to get up and running? And then have you got a plan moving forward? What other stuff you'd like to incorporate?
Yes. Well, for now, just wholesaling. I don't know if creative finance is also part of the wholesaling, but I want to do more. I mean more. I haven't done creative finance deal yet. Working on one now, so hoping to get more into that side. And of course, I mean, I would love to do a flip. It's not like a long-term goal of mine. I would just love to do one flip, for example, or few. Yeah, the biggest goal is to own rentals and have that financial freedom.
Yep. Good stuff. I mean, actually, I'm just looking in the chat, and we've got a shout out from a guy called Nate Armstrong. He's saying, "Look at these legends." So that's good encouragement from the boss. So he's come in and given us a high five. So thanks, Nate, for the virtual high five. The thing I want to get into now, guys, is both you guys have got. Well, Aaron, you've got multiple Facebook groups. Both of you've got Facebook groups in the States. Your market is Kansas City, Missouri. That's where your Facebook groups are based. Aaron's got one now in Canada for Canadians to invest in the States. So that's his second one. How have you found the organic Facebook stuff? How has that gone for you guys? Has it been through your Facebook groups and your connections? How's that worked?
For myself, it's been crucial, not just the Facebook, but social media in general, and just being able to get into different markets, and just building your team, and just having that, doing it virtually, it's just so helpful, obviously, to your, get in these groups, real estate investment groups, and start networking with people, and then get referrals and start building your team that you need on the ground. And yeah, it's just been crucial that way. And then now that I've been growing our group and membership, and again, just meeting different people. And now I just had another couple this week where other people reached out to me to see if I had any buyers for a property that they had. So
yep,
that was just all through organic leads and talking to people. But I think at first, the biggest thing for me really was building that team and just using the social media to do that.
Yeah. And organic, for anyone that's new, that's watching and saying, well, what's organic mean? It sounds like a plantation or a farm or something. It is like that. It's cultivating leads that come in for free. So it's organic. You do it at the grassroots level. You do it through, for an example, a Facebook group, through going out into Facebook or social media in Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and actually attracting people towards us. So that's what we've learned at Social Media Blueprint, is all these forms of organic stuff. There's also paid advertising, which we'll touch on. I'll just get Illy, before we do that, to talk about how he's found it with his Facebook group, how, the whole organic thing. How's that work for you, Illy?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Actually, just today, I had a question about the commercial property I'm working on, because I've done only residential properties. And I got on a Google Meet with a guy from my Facebook group that may be even interested in buying it. He messaged me, but I'll check it afterwards. And he asked me, like, how do we get leads? He is a big buyer right now. He purchased like 5 or 6 homes recently, so we maybe do some deal with him that way, to do paid ads for him, for his leads. That's an option I suggested if he is open to it. And just today, someone posted the deal in my group, and I commented on it that it's very nice property, and that I might have a client for it. And the guy reached out immediately, sent full location, sent pictures, and we talked over the phone about it. And I will be sending it out today. So that's just from today, and that's amazing.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the point that obviously when you do at Social Media Blueprint, part of it is to start your own Facebook group. Now, a lot of people will be going, I'm not starting my own Facebook group. I remember I was well over halfway through the course and I hadn't done that because I was like, I don't want a Facebook group. You know, I want that responsibility. Like, it's one of the best things I've ever done, and I'm sure you guys would attest to that. And that's led, being an admin of a Facebook group, you don't have to have big numbers. You can have a couple hundred people, and if it's an intense, you can make it really intimate, and then you can work from there. But it generally grows pretty quickly. Once a few people get in and they enjoy it, they spread the word, and people start coming in the group, and all of a sudden, after a period of time, it becomes it sort of runs itself. Everyone within the group posts, and there's stuff happening. Now, like if anyone's watching, they'd say, I don't want to have a Facebook group. But Aaron, you and I are in a Facebook admin networking group that has come from that, and there's some amazing people in there. There's industry leaders in there. There's a heap of people that you have access to, and that wouldn't happen if you hadn't taken the first step. So the networking is a massive part of it as well. Like, Aaron is fairly new into this group, but the networking's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's great. I've met a ton of people, and thanks for getting me hooked up with that. And Patrick, I think, is the one that started a lot of that. But it's just amazing. I've met a lot of people already, and it's just been a short time. So they've been great to network with.
Yeah, and then we can go into paid ads. We can talk about paid ads, and you can pay as little or as much as you want to. You can turn up the volume as you go. Have you guys had much luck with paid advertising? We'll just talk about Facebook for now. Have you had much luck with any paid ad campaigns that you guys have run?
I have, definitely, yeah. Quite a few of my deals or opportunities that I've actually closed on were paid ads. So.
Yep. So you're a big advocate for doing both, creating organic and then creating paid ads so that you can have it simultaneously running, and then I guess it fills your pipeline up quicker, doesn't it? You've got more options then. So are you looking down the track, Illy, to do any paid advertising or anything like that, or are you just going to stay with the organic stuff?
I've recently started doing paid ads, and we have how to say it. We had some luck doing it for 2 or 3 weeks now. We got the property under contract, as you know. we're working on it together.
Yeah.
So we got one property under contract, and another one, we agreed on the price. We already have a buyer for it. It's just that they need to find a place to rent before signing the contract. So we're still following up with them, asking that we can put the closing date contingent on them finding a place to live in or something like that. So we're following up each day, but we still don't want to pressure them too much. But that's the result, and ROI on that would be massive. So
I want to ask about the international theme. I want to ask some international questions. And this, when I say international, this is, probably the virtual wholesaling model on steroids, because you've got different time zones. You're outside the country, but this applies for people, in California, working in, it could be New York, across the country. So the same. I mean, we're doing probably just a little bit harder because of different time zones. What sort of mindset do you guys believe you've got to have be able to do virtual wholesaling, especially from outside the country? Do you think it takes a pretty big mindset shift? And what kickback did you get from family members and people in your friend circles and that when you said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do US property"? What was the feedback that you got? And I'll start up top with you again, Ellie.
Yep. Well, winning mindset is must, especially when you're looking long term. You have to cultivate it, and as we talked before, surrounding yourself with the right people. Just wanted to mention a funny story. When I told a friend here in Belgrade that I'm going through a course, that I decided to take this path right now, I'm all in. And when I explained it to him, he looked me all worried and told me, "Man, like, I don't want to bum you out, but this seems like some kind of scam, I don't want to worry." But I remembered one of the coaches, Chris, main man Chris Strickland. He told us before, and that's what I told him. I had to stop the conversation right there. Politely, of course. I told him, I'll have to cut you out right now. I can't even hear those words coming at me. So it's nothing personal. We just can't discuss this now or ever again. And few months after that, we saw he asked, we saw each other. He asked me how it's going, and I've done a few deals by that time. And then he was impressed. Like he shook my hand and told me, "I respect you so much because you told me that." He remembered I didn't mention that to him, but he shook my hand and told me, like, yeah, that's the right mindset to have. So
that's a great story to illustrate it. That's the sort of shock that you get off people, especially when you're international and you're overseas. Like, it's in another country. Like, you've gone insane. But what you're saying is you have to have an unshakable, unbreakable mindset. You can't be swayed by anyone else's opinion. It doesn't matter whether someone that you respect highly, someone that's done really well in business in your country or whatever. You've just got to have that unshakable mindset. And obviously, Aaron, there's a lot of Canadians that do invest in the US, but do you still get that pushback in Canada?
Somewhat, but I found it more positive, to be honest. But I guess the biggest thing was just like that caution of make sure you're doing things correctly, and you find like, just with the taxes and asset protection, and then just making sure that you're moving forward in the right direction. And people were like, especially friends that aren't in real estate, they just found that it was pretty interesting, something they wouldn't do. And then now they're more interested, that's for sure. So
yeah, I've got a very similar story. Just quickly, I've got a very similar story to Illy. I actually had a coach over here, and I'm you know, great coach, great person with Australian stuff. And when I mentioned it, very negative response, and I don't want to rain on your parade, and pretty much from that point on, that person, that company, what I pulled out. I'm not gonna have someone that's supposed to be a coach and trying to, you know, be teaching people and have a high motivation level himself tell me something like that. So that's probably one of the mild ones. I've had some shocking reactions, and like Illy said, you've just got to have thick skin and just say, right, well, I'm going all out, and I just can't listen to that stuff, and I just can't talk about that stuff unless it's about someone that's in real estate and generally in the US, because I've got one mate here in Australia, and we just talk every day, and that's the person I can talk to, because he does wholesaling in a couple of states virtually from here. So that's about it. So you got to have an unshakable mindset, don't you? You've got to really work on your mindset all the time. I mean, generally in this business you do anyway, but that international flavor's got a bit more. And look, we've sort of got your backstory in that. So what was the key factor that drew you to the United States? Was it the fact that in Aaron's case it was a cheaper market? What? Just give me 1 point each, guys. What drew you to the US market?
Well, when I started looking at it, the lower cost of entry in different markets, your return on investment, landlord-friendly states was a big one. Obviously, there's some that aren't, but going into those markets. And then also a big one was just to be, especially with wholesaling, the U.S. has the Freedom of Information Act, and we have the Privacy of Information Act. It's just a lot harder to find out, to get those leads off market, and the software and all that just doesn't exist that I'm aware of. Definitely not the same. So those are a few that kind of
that's the same. That's the same in Australia. Exactly the same. You can't get that information at all. It's against the law. It's just completely different. What about you, Illy? What drew you there? What was the big draw? Like when you sort of looked and saw your first wholesaling thing, or saw your first creative finance YouTube video? What drew you to the States?
Well, I just saw Nate's speech on financial freedom, and that was it.
That was it. He had you at a low. He had you at initial impact. You just went, "Yep, I'm in. I'm burning the boats. I'm in." Yeah, he's got that effect on you, Nate. He's very personable guy, and he speaks from the heart, doesn't he? So he motivates you from the heart. And he's a great leader. I'm saying that because hopefully he's still watching. So I might get some brownie points there. But no, that's true. The next question I want to ask is, what have you found the hardest obstacle to overcome from another country, or from virtually, being super virtual, I guess? We'll start with you, Aaron. Looks like you're waiting for Illy, and Illy's waiting for you. So we'll start with you, Aaron.
I guess it would have been the same anywhere, but the tech part for me, I know Graham, we have had that discussion. All that.
Yep, many a time.
As far as getting all that set up and things like that, but and then just getting the structures in place and talking to the right people about setting up your structure, with being in Canada and flowing on down through to the US, and then and again reaching out to the people that have experience in that area. Those things were some of the bigger obstacles. And then just something like, even before the course ended, I was successful with getting our first wholesale deal completed. And I don't know, I wanted to jump through all the hoops and have all the structures set up before, and everyone was just like, no, just kind of baby steps, just you can deal with that when you get to it. And just the transfer of money and getting it back to Canada with the best, with the lowest cost. And but again, having that team in place and being able to reach out and ask people those questions, it wasn't difficult. So it was just a matter of having those people in place. And then reaching
Yeah,
out
so it
to
was
other people that know what they're doing and going through
it was a bit of it with your nature, Aaron. You're sort of saying that you were sort of getting stuck on step 8 and 9, and that before you got past step 1 and 2, you had to sort of just pull back to where you were and just because you wanted to have everything organised and in place. Did you? Is that one of the points that you said?
Yeah, and some of it I didn't even know what I wanted in place, so it's kind of hard to organize it because you might be using a different structure for different things if you're doing buy and hold or flips or whatever you're doing. So yeah, just
but
taking
that's
that
part of
step
the
back
trial
and
and error.
just going
that's
one
part.
step at a time.
Yeah. Because I mean, even with software and with products and with all sorts of stuff, you tend to have to go through and say, "Oh, no, that one didn't work. I'll go over here and I'll go." It's a bit of a trial and error period, isn't it? So you try and limit the collateral damage financially. You try and make sure that you're not jumping all over the place and chasing shiny objects. But I think everyone goes through that, and like that's why the support and everything, and people that have been there before you to say, no, don't do that. Maybe go this way. That's really important. So, what about you, Illy?
Well,
What have you
maybe,
found the hardest?
yeah, maybe doing it local, not local. Maybe people asking me, am I local, and stuff like that. But I kind of forgot it since I have a partner I met through Facebook, and it's like I'm local now, basically. So I don't have that obstacle anymore.
Yeah, I guess the accent as well. That sort of makes it a bit hard to say. It's like me with my accent. It's like, yeah, mate, how you going? Like, where are you? Is this a scam? Like, it can throw people off. But that, like you said, you work around that once you get a bit of confidence. And were there any particular systems from each of your countries that you had problem with, like either tech systems or something that you couldn't use outside the US, or it didn't work? It was mainly US based stuff that you had to work around there. Did it take a while to get your systems in place?
Who is going first?
Oh, we'll get Aaron to go first. And I mean, like, even phone systems and all that sort of stuff. Like, I know in Australia I had a lot of trouble. It took me a few months to get something that was working. I think they've improved it a lot now with a lot of the platforms. What about you, Aaron? Did you have any trouble with technology, or because you're basically on the same continent, it's all linked up with the States, is it?
Yeah, I didn't have too much problems with that. It was just more my tech skills.
Yeah.
But as far as everything else went, it wasn't too difficult, really, as far as the phones and the CRM and all that stuff was all linked up just fine. I didn't have too many problems with that, actually. So that was helpful.
What about you, Willie? You're in Europe, so was there any difficulties with setting all that stuff up, or was it?
Yeah,
no obstacles?
There was stuff that needed to be fixed up, but just phone and good VPN. So
yeah,
that's basically it, I think.
So it sounds like with all of us, there's been a transition period of being new. It's a big jump. It's a foreign country. You're virtual, and just to add on that, the 2 points that you guys have just said, I found the hardest thing not being hands-on there, because I come from a trade background, and if someone doesn't perform on a flip or this, I just get in there and I do it myself, and I'm there and I'm pointing fingers and doing it. To be able to do that virtually, and if you're a visual person, it's very hard. It's a very hard adjustment to make, and you have to follow, like, in a system that's been built for you. You've got to follow and just trust the process, don't you? Because it's completely different than being hands-on in an area, in a marketplace. So that was probably something I struggled with, and I'm sure you guys have, going back to what we were saying before, really, about people saying, what are you doing? You actually were studying to be a lawyer and getting to get a law degree. So a lot of people would have said you're backflipping from there, but you thought you're doing somersaults forward, aren't you? You're doing handstands, because, obviously there was something there. You weren't passionate as much as what you are about real estate.
Yeah. I mean, those two were always kind of my crossroad, either law or real estate. But yeah, for now it's real estate.
Yeah. Well, you're a good friend in real estate to have, because you've got some background in legal jargon and stuff. So we can always keep you within the group and keep you there if we have any litigation problems or anything coming along. We've got Illy to pop up and give us some advice. But the one other thing with social media, because we're talking about Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter and Instagram and all that are getting really big now. Have you guys branched out into that at all? Have you started doing any real estate stuff in those mediums yet, or are you yet to check those out?
I haven't myself yet, but I'm definitely, it's on the radar for sure. It's just a lot of opportunity there. I know. I've just been busy with what's going on with my business right now.
Yeah.
I just haven't had the bandwidth to kind of stretch out and just kind of get into those other platforms, but I definitely will be for sure.
What about you, Illy?
LinkedIn and things too, and is another good platform as well. So.
Yeah. What about you, Illy? You're a young guy. Surely you're all over Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, and you're filming yourself doing selfies all the time with your mates at nightclubs. Surely you're all over it, aren't
you? Well, on the business side, not so much other than Facebook. I do know my partner posted a couple of videos on TikTok, but nothing too much. But that's something to consider. Very big.
Yeah, I have spoken about a few people at a younger generation that are in real estate. They're using these mediums to blow up and just have followers, and it's really turbocharge their businesses. So I think that's where people are moving into. Obviously, YouTube's been really good, and now podcasting like this is really good. Like Aaron, you do a podcast out of your Canadian group, don't you? You do a podcast, and do you do some Facebook Lives out of your Kansas City group as well? Do you do videos in that group?
I will be starting once a week. I was going to start doing them, and I've just been doing one out of my Canadian group right now.
Yep.
And I've been doing that once a week. So I'll be starting in the Kansas City group as well.
I've seen, and you've had some really good guests, especially Mike Wolf. That he was a great guest, but you've had some really good guests. And Ilya, you do some. I've seen you do some lives. Are you planning to jump on the microphone and do maybe a US real estate talk show in Serbia or something? Get the big microphone and the headphones and start recruiting Serbians to invest in the US?
Not for now.
I didn't look at the body language. Was telling me that's probably not going to happen. But you do lives, and I guess what I'm asking is how the feedback from you guys of how that does that help you connect with people? How do you feel that that's an advantage? That's an extension of the Facebook stuff and all the social media stuff. How does it work for you guys individually? And I'll start with Aaron.
Well, just within networking and meeting different people, but just providing content to members of the group, and then just getting out there, and again, just networking and being able to build your group and your business that way through social media. I know there's just a ton that can be done with it. So I just got on board with just starting this, at least for now. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback, and met quite a few people that I wouldn't have met through there. And it just enhanced my business and given me different perspectives on things and different leads here and there. So, and that's just with the few weeks of doing it, of starting that. So I know there's a lot of potential there. So,
yeah, definitely, especially with the podcasting. I mean, the big guests that you have coming in, you get to talk to them, you get to relate with them, and have a bit of a chat afterwards. It builds relationships, doesn't it? It builds connections and a bigger network. So, yeah, it's and I like what you said, too, Aaron, you're giving content to people in your group. You're actually giving free content, and you're helping people who are brand new and moving their way through by bringing in people that have already been there and done that, and are dropping some gold nuggets, or on another podcast that I know about, Thunderbolts. You know what I mean? You're actually helping out, and it's a really fast track way of educating and trying to help people learn and be able to ask questions. I was just thinking, like that guy that was in the chat before, young Nate Armstrong. I thought he might have asked some questions, so we could have helped him out with his journey in real estate. But he's gone a bit quiet. I think he's gone out chasing the dog with Bianco and his other son. So yeah, no, look, it's amazing, and even the Facebook Lives. I mean, anyone can do it. It's like having a Facebook group. You can jump on, you can do it, and to be able to get special guests in that are proven performers in the industry and share that with other people is a great thing. And what about you, Illy? What have you seen the benefits with your Facebook group by doing the lives and that? Have you seen many results with that? Have people reached out to you?
Yeah, after the live, immediately one guy reached out and told me he knows Aaron, and we just talked, and it's been nice. It's our fault we're not doing it more often, but I think that's very beneficial, and we should focus on doing it at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah. No, well, as Aaron said, you know, building a business, being in something relatively, you know, you've been in it not super long, you've got to do the income producing stuff first, and then you can do more lives and more social media. And Aaron, I mean, there's hope for us all. I got on TikTok and Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I actually set my own account up. I thought I'm going to blow my phone up and I got through it. And I've been posting, and I think I've become addicted to it. I think I've done about 40 videos in about 2 weeks. So
I saw a couple of them.
Yeah, it's easier than what it looks. I'm hoping Nate hasn't seen a lot of them, because he's copped a little bit of flack in that. But that's just all in jest about the podcast. But the main thing is that you're making connections and you're staying connected. And this is what is taught at Social Media Blueprint is these. Like, we'll start with Facebook groups, and now other mediums. They've given you access to millions and tens of millions of people around the world. And, you know, I'll just give an example. From Australia, I go to do a Craigslist ad, and we're blocked. We couldn't do it. Yet I can post something on my phone, and it's in people's hands on their phone in America within seconds. So that's just the power of social media. And Nate quite often says, you know, he goes out for dinner and he sees people, you know, he holds his phone up and he says, I look around, all the families, all the kids are on phones, the parents are on phones, they're not even talking and communicating. Unfortunately, that's the way it is now. So if you want access to motivated sellers, if you want access to network, if you want access to buyers and build a buyers list, you've got to be on social media, because that's where all the action is. So yeah, you guys are all over it. You've got your Facebook groups, you're doing organic, you've done a little bit of paid, and I think the next stage is TikTok. I think I can see Aaron doing some pretty outrageous TikTok videos. Illy, you're a young guy. There's no excuse from you, mate. You should be posing all the time on social media. The only one I've got to get on now is Twitter, so I'll be heading on to that probably next week. Get onto Twitter, but yeah, real benefits, and especially for people overseas or people that are virtual, you can really connect with people without having to, you know, be on the ground. So, all right, guys, any other things that we can share with people about being international? I mean, what are the benefits? Are there any benefits of being international other than if you do a cold call and someone's threatening to kill you, you can actually, you're miles away. That's probably the number one. But are there any more benefits or any more obstacles that you guys can think of through your journey in real estate?
For myself, I think a huge benefit could be networking with Canadian buyers wanting to buy in the U.S. and investors that are buying in the U.S. And that's why I started that Facebook group that I have there now, and it's slowly growing. I haven't been able to put that much time into it, but I will be, and so that's a huge plus for me.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point because a lot of Canadians, the prices are so high, they want to come to America and build up rentals and little portfolios. Do you think you can do the same thing in Serbia? Do you think you can attract Serbians to want to buy little portfolios of rental properties in the US, Illy? Do you think that's I mean, have you talked to people about that over there?
Not for now, but I'm sure one day it will happen. So
you may end up with a Facebook group in Serbia that's for Serbians that are going to invest in the US, like what Aaron's done. Because the same in Australia, I haven't pushed it, but it's been sitting there as an idea, and I just know we're like Canada. The prices are so high; you got to put yourself in chains for 20 years to buy rentals. You can go and buy 5 or 6 properties for the price of one property over here in Midwestern towns and have a positive cash flow. We've got no cash flow over here, so there are real advantages for people in our countries to invest in the US. So I guess that's something that we'll all look at doing. I was looking to start a Facebook group pretty soon and get Australian investors from groups I'm in there to start educating them on it. And I guess, with the way things are going economically, it's affected our market over here. So people will be looking still to invest, but Australia's market's gone really flat. So there are all those benefits. So that's a great point, Aaron. That's a real advantage to build an international buyers list in a place where you can get less for your money. So if you go to the US, you're going to get more for your money. So that's attractive to international investors, and that's what makes the US market so good. Another thing, guys, I mean, Aaron, can you do creative finance in Canada?
Yeah, definitely you can.
You can still do all that stuff in Canada.
There is more that you can do in the US with the creative financing, and also different strategies as well with the auctions, things like that. It's just a lot. There's a lot more opportunity at the auctions, or at least there was. And again, go back to Mike Wolf was a big. He knows a lot about the auctions. He did a lot of courses and programs. Is out of Houston, Texas, and they just don't exist here. There are auctions, but they're not. It's not that same as in the U.S. So there's that, and then also a few more creative strategies that you can do, and it seems to be easier to do them there. So.
Yep. And Illy, I think I've asked you this question before. It's non-existent in Serbia, isn't it?
True.
Yeah, it's the same in Australia. You just can't do that stuff in Australia. It's just, I think we thought we were dreaming when we heard this wholesaling and this lease options and sub to, like, what? Like, I think, Aaron's probably been a little bit more acclimatized to it than what we have, but I still can't believe it now. Like, I get excited if someone asks me about it and I'm trying to explain a sub 2 and that, my head nearly blows up. I'm like, and they're like, who would do that? I said, that's what I thought. So it's just amazing. And that's why, we get so pumped up about it. We're like Djokovic and Kyrgios having a tennis match together, aren't we? Illy, we get really pumped up. So no, that's great, guys. I didn't realize how we've been going for like 50 minutes, so I'll have to wrap it up. I'll get you guys to do a shout out with your Facebook groups and just give them a plug. So if anyone's watching, another thing, I get a fair few people reach out to me internationally, and I try and help them as much as I can on the phone and network with them. I get them in my Facebook group so that I can get them in, because it's a networking Facebook group. Do you guys ever have anyone reach out? And would you be happy for people to reach out? For you, Illy, someone from Europe to reach out to you, and Canadians to reach out to you, Aaron, which obviously would be through your group. So, yeah, would you guys really like to mentor new people as they're coming through?
Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. I have a group in Kansas City, KCMO Off-Market Real Estate, and then the Canadian group is Canadians Investing in Off-Market U.S. Real Estate. And definitely, if anyone has any questions, concerns, especially with Canadians wanting to invest in the U.S., I have a lot of resources that I can hook you up with. And also, if anyone, especially in Canada, looking to invest in the U.S., we're working on a few investment projects right now. So we're looking for partners with those. So anyone looking to invest as well can reach out at any time and just drop your information in those groups.
So
I'd be happy to
what we'll
reach out
do
and talk.
is we'll chuck the Facebook groups in the description in the YouTube video, where it gets archived in Social Media Blueprint on the YouTube channel. We'll put that in there. So if people want to reach out, especially the Canadians that want to learn more and maybe want to invest in the US, and especially for your Kansas City groups, because they're really booming at the moment. You're getting people coming in, and that's a real hub for the 2 years. So we'll drop those in the link. Now, Illy, what's the name of your group?
KCMO Off Market Deals.
So they're very similar names. So anyone gets on Facebook, just put CMO, and both of the groups will pop up, and you just join both of them, because that way you can reach out to the guys, especially if you're overseas and you somehow you're watching this. You know, it's good. And when I said mentoring, you're not going to. It's not like a coaching prep, but it's someone, you know, they can ask you questions. They can friend you on Facebook and ask questions, and you can help them get set up. I direct them to some stuff, and you know, especially some free stuff that I know to get them into it, and then you can sort of advise them. But all right, guys. Well, thanks for coming in. That's great. It's good to see that you're really doing well. If there's anyone out there thinking about joining SMB, what would you say it's been well worthwhile and do it? What's your last parting message to anyone that's thinking about getting the support and joining a group like SMB?
I would say definitely just jump in and do it, and go all in, and use the support, and ask the questions if you do join, and utilize the resources that are there. They're more than willing to help and to teach, and it's great. And I've joined. I've gone on from the first part of the program. I've joined the elite program, so it's just a smaller group of investors, and it's just it's been a great journey for me that way. I'm probably the least experienced, but in that, I'm learning a lot because of that. So from all the other guys, because it's just a great resource, and a great culture, like you said earlier, to network with and to help with.
Yeah, so you're using that theory. You're using that theory that I use all the time, Aaron, that you want to be the dumbest person in the room, because you want to be around smarter people and learn and be like a sponge. That could be that we're Collingwood supporters as well, that we end up the dumbest guys in the room. That could be as well. And Illy is a Collingwood supporter as well. I've converted these two guys to Australian rules, the greatest team in the land. So that's good. But that's a great point, Aaron. That's a really good point. Is, you know, stretch yourself, get in around people that are further experienced in that, and you're just going to learn a lot. It's going to fast track you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Even if you're calling,
yeah. What's your parting words of wisdom to anyone out there? Illy, what's your sort of angle on SMB? You know, were you stoked with the program? Will you stay involved? Will you keep in the system? You know, like keep networking with the people. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. Don't wait. If you're thinking about joining, don't wait.
Yeah,
just go all in.
All right. Well, you know, the three of us are mad Collingwood supporters. We're internationals. We've got all that in common, so we're all in. And we sing its praises. But like anything, do your due diligence. Make sure. And Nate says this himself. Make sure it's right for you. If it's not a fit for you, go and find a fit for you. But work on yourself and try and be better. And just try and build and build and build, like you guys have said that you've done during this podcast. It's been a learning curve, and sometimes you freak out, and just having that support and pushing forward, you get some success where you guys are now, and you guys are, you know, got up to the next level, and obviously you want to go to the next level. So thanks for coming on. You guys are killing it. A couple of my favourite guys, you know, not just because of Collingwood, but you're great guys, and we've got that international connection. So yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you, and I hope people are watching this not just outside of the States, but also if you're inside the States and you're doing virtual stuff. You know, it is a little bit hard to get set up, but once you get set up and once you get your systems in place, and if you're struggling with it, maybe reach out to someone that does virtual wholesaling and get some mentorship or do something. But it's well worth it because you can, any of us can pack up our laptop, go to Bali, sit around a pool, and still do exactly what you can do from home in the office. So it just gives you that lifestyle freedom, and it's where I think the future's heading. So let's sign out, guys. Let's say, obviously because of social media blueprint, we're all alive and kicking. So thank you for joining the Alive and Kicking podcast. And we've got another special guest, which I won't mention until I do a TikTok video coming in on Friday. And we'll probably be talking about how to use social media, how to pick up creative deals. And I won't give too much away, but that's going to be a great show. So thanks, guys. Hang on, what do we got? Not sure if names are populating, but this is Nate. I love seeing you three together. International real estate investors. Each of you has powerful story, and the fact that you've made it happen from abroad shows your willpower. Keep going. Your future is so bright. Thanks, Nate. We appreciate it. We're signing out now. Thank you for the love, Nate, and smash. If you really love us, Nate, smash the love button. I want to see the love button come up on the screen. But thanks, Nate. That's the sort of support you get. Is you've got the CEO, the founder, in here, giving a round of applause and cheerleading his international students. So take my hat off to Nate. I think he's a fantastic guy, and I'm sure you guys do. But let's sign out. We've gone an hour. This has been the longest one so far. So, all right, Illy, thank you from Serbia. Thank you from Canada, Aaron. And check out their Facebook groups. And we'll catch you guys later. We'll see you on Friday, 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Grant. Or thanks
no worries. See you guys.
See you
later.